Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Coffee Run Live. My name is Nicola Morris, and we are, excuse me, sneezing, that's awkward. It is episode number 604 for your viewing pleasure. Now, I'm pretty sure I just saw the notification that we are live. Let me just double check that. Hello, Kathy. Hope you are well. All right, so fantastic. Let's make that do that. I'm gonna go like that and go like that. All right, so let me know that you can hear me. Let me know that you can do all the things, because it is Wednesday and we can do anything on a Wednesday, right? Hey, Rebecca, how are you? Welcome. So I've been thinking about all of the fun things that we've been talking about recently, which has been, all about visibility and things like that. But one of the big things, I suppose, good morning, Kathy. One of the big things that we can, I guess, get caught up in is a perceived lack of engagement on our business pages and on our content, right? Now, I know for me personally, I don't like it when people don't comment on my stuff, which means I really do like it when people comment. I love it when you come in and you're like, oh, hello, and you know what's going on, or you ask questions, or you're like, yes, that's totally me, or, whatever it is that you happen to be saying. I really thrive and I really love the interaction. And sometimes, maybe if I'm feeling a little bit vulnerable that particular day, I might get all up in my head about, no one is commenting, or, sometimes that happens on my stuff as well. Like, people just don't comment, or they don't seem to visibly engage. And we can make that mean a few different things, right? We can make that mean in our own heads that, my stuff's not relevant. Nobody loves me. Maybe I shouldn't do this thing. Maybe social media doesn't even work. Is it really worth all the time and the effort and the energy? And, I guess one of the things there are three things actually, that I really wanted to help you to understand around creating content. And I think these are the three things that we really tend to forget about our ideal clients and about our prospects and about the people who are following us and looking at our stuff. So they don't always visibly interact, right? And so that's really kind of, I guess, what we want to bust this myth open on today. The first thing we have to remember about our ideal clients and or the people who are following us is that they are human, right? Sometimes we can think that, it can feel like we're just putting our stuff out to this anonymous audience, to this big black or white void, or whatever the case might be. But the people who are actually looking at our stuff, we are human. If we're looking at your things, we are human, right? The second thing that we tend to forget is that people have thoughts and feelings, right? And we talked a bit about this yesterday with how to really kind of delve into what they're thinking about, what they're working towards, and all of that kind of stuff. So go back and have a listen to episode 603 if you really need to have that, or if you feel like you haven't done it well enough, or if you want that evidence that our people actually have thoughts and feelings. The third thing that we have to remember is that our people are not just like random people on the internet. And what I mean by this, the people who are following you, they are like you and I, all right? And I'm going to expand a little bit on this today. So what happens is that people have feelings around what it is that they do or don't have yet, right? So it might be that they really want something and they don't have it. They are going to have a whole ton of feelings around that. They're going to have a whole ton of self-talk around maybe why they don't have that yet, or why they feel like they're not there yet, or good morning, Liz, or whatever the case might be, right? But they all have thoughts and feelings about why they don't have what they want yet. And maybe if you're out there talking about how amazing it can be to live a life on purpose, maybe how amazing it can be to feel like you've got all of your money stuff all under control, like if you're an accountant or a bookkeeper or a money mindset coach. Maybe if you're a psychologist, you've got to have people thinking, oh, I don't know what it takes to be happy. And, typically what will happen if they're not quite sure, if they're really astutely aware around what they don't have, they might be processing their own stuff around why they're not engaging with you. Maybe they're not ready to face that yet. So I think there's kind of, again, there's like three main ways that your audience will be sitting looking at your stuff or looking through social media and using social media. One of the things that they'll be doing, some of this cohort, and I don't have any particular statistics around what the percentages are, so this is more around what I've observed and what I know about human behavior, right, from doing this for 11 years. So people are out there actually potentially actively looking for and asking for help. Now, these kinds of people, if they're sitting there going like, oh my gosh, I'm really looking for a way in which I can lose weight. I'm really looking for a way that I can be happy. I'm really looking for a retreat. I'm really looking for a way of learning how to speed read. These people are kind of going to be most likely the people who are going to take quicker action with your stuff. Let me know what kinds of businesses that you have, and I can make some of these examples that are really relevant to you as well while we're going through this today. I know we've got a life coach on here. I'm not quite sure what the rest of you do. So, if we think about it, most people aren't sitting there going, oh my God, I need to find a life coach, right? Most people who will actively be looking for help, they're probably looking for ways to feel more joy. Maybe they're looking for ways to feel more connected. Maybe they're looking for ways to feel less isolated. Maybe they're looking for hints and tips, that they're actually actively looking for hints and tips around motivation or feeling inspired. Thank you, Kathy, a Zumba instructor, fantastic. So your people might be actively looking for ways to get fit at home or to have fun without having to have a home gym set up, right? So a lot of the people, the ones that will make the fastest decisions are often the people who are actively looking for help and actively asking for help. Now, typically what will happen with these types of people is they'll land on your stuff and they'll be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. How can I work with you? How can I join your stuff? How can I do your program? And things like that. That's the first group of people. The second group of people, and I think that this is probably the largest percentage. So if I was to hazard a guess, I would say that the people who are actually actively looking and seeking for help out there is, let's say, 20% of people. All right. Then we've got, let's say, 60% of people. So I really think this is the biggest cohort of people. They are sitting there. I was looking for my phone, but I'm using it. They are sitting there killing time, right? So they're on social media. They're probably generally procrastinating, and they might stumble across you and what you do. So they've been doing the scroll, something in their feed makes them stop, which is you, makes them stop, and they kind of look and they're like, oh yeah, maybe in their head, it's like, wow, like how did you know what was going on in my head? How did you know that I was looking for learning how to change tires, how to be a female mechanic at home? How did you know I was looking to lose weight and have fun without having to set up an expensive home gym? Whatever the case might be. Right? So they're killing time, they're looking at their kids, they're looking at their grandkids, they're looking at their employees, they're looking at the Joneses, and they are killing time, right? And then bang, you pop in their feed, then they become aware of you, right? The third group of people might be actually actively stalking you. By which I mean they're getting to know you through your content. So these people might not, all these three groups of people don't necessarily visibly engage with you. Okay, so the third group of people might be stalking you, which means that they get notifications when you go live, they get notifications when you put a new post up. It all comes through their feed and they're just like, I can't get enough. They're like being sponges and they're just like absorbing everything that you put out there and they love it, right? But you don't know that yet. okay? Because they haven't visibly engaged. They haven't commented, all three groups of people haven't commented yet. They haven't asked questions yet, perhaps. They haven't reached out and said, oh, hey, how can I work with you? It's just they're either actively looking for your help and they come across you, they're killing time, or they're actively stalking you. Rebecca, I'm your stalker. Thank you. I'm very happy for you to be my stalker. I love all of my stalkers. You are all fabulous. So thinking about these three types of people and where they are at in their journey of seeking help, think about it. How many times do you personally stumble across something on social media and you think, oh my God, how did you know what was going into my head? Have you got cameras in my house? Like, how did you know that this is what I was thinking? And then you might think like, how did you know I had that conversation with my partner yesterday about needing to like get fit without setting up a home gym? You know, it's almost like the internet is listening to the conversations, not only that are going on around your home, but also the conversations that are going around in your head, right? And you're like, wow, this is crazy. This is really awesome. But then you don't comment on what it is that you have seen. How many times do you look and read through posts and go, yep, that's bang on. Oh, yeah, I agree with this completely, but you don't click like, you don't comment, you don't share, you don't do anything other than sit and absorb and engage with the content. For me personally, I do this all the time. I actually personally do this all the time. There are a few different things and there are a few different people that I follow and I engage with in my head, but I do not physically engage with them online. And there's a few different reasons for that. I don't want or need everybody to know the kinds of things that I'm looking at or the kinds of things that I'm reading. It's not about being nefarious or underhanded. It's just like, I'm sure that you that there are some reasons and there's probably some things that you have opinions around and you agree with certain opinions, but perhaps you don't comment and share and do all that kind of thing. An example for me with this is I follow Clementine Ford, one of the writers for Herald Sun and an author, Sydney Morning Herald maybe, I don't know, there's a few different things that she writes for. And there's a lot of stuff that I'll look at and I'll engage with. And often I'll be like, yeah, I really agree with what you're saying, but I don't comment. I don't click like. There might be some things that I'll read of hers that I'm like, no, I disagree with that. But I still don't comment, but I'm engaging in my head, right? But I'm not actually actively, physically and visibly engaging. So that's one way that people behave. And I'm sure that this is probably until people feel really comfortable or feel really confident or whatever the case might be, or see a reason for commenting, engaging or liking or whatever, a lot of people just don't do it. The other side of this, and I'll throw this out to you as well, how many times do you see posts on social media and you're like, oh, that's really helpful. But then your trigger happy refresh feed finger that goes like this, right? You might see something, but then automatically you quickly go because we're so programmed to swipe down so that we get new fresh content, right? It's like the pokies. It's actually really addictive. And then you're like, oh my God, where did that post go? I know I was reading something that was really important and something that I agreed with, but now I can't find it. And then you go looking for the post and you can't find it, but you still resonated with it. Again, I know that I do this. I'm terrible for it. It's like I can have my phone sitting on my desk and I'll touch it and I'll refresh it and I'll be reading something and it's almost like my finger has a mind of its own and then like bang, it's like refreshed before I've even finished reading. It's a really bad habit of mine. So I know a lot of people are really similar. Like we're looking for that next hit of information. We're looking for that next bit of inspiration. So people behave in different ways. And that the big thing that I need you to remember is to not take it personally when people are not actively, visibly engaging with your content. It does not mean they're not reading it. It doesn't mean that they think you're like crap. It doesn't mean that they don't like your voice. It doesn't mean that you don't have things that are important to say. It doesn't mean anything at all other than you need to keep doing your job, which is allowing people, and multiple times per day, by the way, allowing people to be stopped in their tracks by your content. You need to make sure that you are putting stuff out there so that you can keep educating, supporting, helping people to get to know you. But you've got to remember that a lot of the time, people aren't going to visibly engage with you. And that's just the facts, right? Because a lot of people don't want their name attached to your content. And it doesn't mean that your content is polarizing. It doesn't mean that it's political. It doesn't mean that it's politically incorrect. It doesn't mean that you don't know enough. It's just their own personal choice. Because when, I was talking to some clients and friends yesterday, and I said, I see all your stuff, but I actually get notifications when my husband comments on your stuff or when your wife comments on your stuff, and then I'll go and read it. So I haven't engaged with that post, but I'll get the notification when friends of mine have gone and commented. So a lot of the time this will happen for you as well, where you go and comment on something and your friends might get a notification that you've gone and commented or that you've visibly engaged. And so for that reason, lots of people, particularly in the age that we're in now of, people being particularly opinionated about all sorts of things, you might have an opinion that is unpopular with your cohort of friends. You might be wanting to start a business where all your friends are like, are you fucking crazy? Stay in a job. Like you've got security, you're going to be safe. You know that you get paid no matter what. And we know that that's actually like a false sense of security because you could be fired at any time or, all sorts of things could happen. So you might be doing something that is a little kind of left of center from the rest of your group, or have certain beliefs or certain opinions about things that are maybe not as popular as other people that you know, or in the same line as what other people that you know have. And you might not want everybody seeing your stuff that you're commenting on or engaging with. Or, particularly I think if we're looking at, life coaches, business coaches, psychologists, things like that, your audiences are already potentially kind of feeling quite vulnerable, right? If you're not making the money you want, if you're not having that sense of joy that you want, if you feel like you're maybe on the verge of depression, if you feel like maybe you're reliving trauma, maybe you're feeling like you are just not as fit or as healthy as you want to be, but you feel like everybody's going to judge you if you were to happen to go out there and say, this is what I really want. Like, you're amazing as you are. It's like you might feel like crap on the inside. It takes a whole lot of vulnerability for people to come and comment on your stuff, right? And so if we remember that, and if we come back to those three things that you might have forgotten, our people are human. Yeah, and humans we are not carbon copies of each other, but we do have lots of similarities. They do have thoughts and feelings, and they're not just random people on the internet that are like robots that you have to be like, you have to engage with all of my content. We have to remember that they are like you and I, and maybe they're just, feeling a little vulnerable and they're just not quite ready to out themselves to you yet and ask for help. Okay, so that is what I wanted to remind you of today, and let you know that, if you've been putting content out there and you feel like you're just kind of like screaming into this black void or empty void of nothing except your own voice echoing back at you, remember that not everyone is going to visibly engage. You will get a percentage of people who do, but you won't have everybody visibly engage. It's a little bit like, sometimes it can be a little bit like rent a crowd, right? When more people start commenting, then they can feel safe, safety in numbers. But if you have something that people don't, generally interact a whole lot on, you might find that your people are a little bit more tentative to have their names and their faces stand out to you. Okay, so don't take it personally is the big thing. You're very welcome, Jen. My pleasure. Your job, though, is to keep putting content out there. Your job is to be consistent. Your job is to add value. Your job is to make sure that you are giving them the help, the support, the education, the inspiration, the motivation, the reassurance that they really need, that they are not alone, that when they are ready, you are there. And, you know, some people will buy from you, or some people will book in with you without you even knowing who they are but they'll say to you, oh my gosh, I follow you on social media. You're so amazing. You know, I read everything that you put out there. I watch everything that you put out there. I listen to everything that you put out there. And you'll be like, but I've never heard from you. This is ridiculous. Where have you been hiding? Right? So know that they are out there, and then other people are really forward. So that is what I wanted to remind you of today. Now, just really quickly, on another note, I know that some of these things around consistency and really showing up and getting everything done that you need to get done in your day can be a bit challenging. So what I have opened up, I haven't opened this up for a little while, so I'm really excited. I've opened up my Implement Like a Boss 4-week challenge. Now, this is where you and I and intimate group of people will jump on a group call at 6 o'clock every morning. You're going to work through your planner. You're going to let me know what your focus is for the day. So you've got accountability. You are going to commit to your actions, which might be a live stream. It might be putting up 2 posts a day. It might be putting up 5 posts a day. It might be working on that online program that you said you were going to do, or working on that book that you said you wanted to start this year, and we're nearly already halfway through the year. Whatever the thing is that you really want to work on, we spend the next 4 weeks together in Implement Like a Boss. Our calls go for no more than half an hour so that you are clear, you're ready to go and jump into your day and get a whole lot done. Typically what happens is people will say that they have tripled their results, they've tripled their productivity, they've tripled their output, and they've had more time off. Yes, imagine getting to the end of the day and you feel like you've achieved everything that you wanted to achieve, and you're actually able to either walk out of the office, whether it's an in-home office or an out-of-home office, and you feel that sense of achievement, like you don't have to think about work again, you don't have to think about content creation, you don't have to think about social media until the very next day. You know exactly what you need to do, and it takes all of that I think all of that pressure out and all of that second guessing out, because you're just working through, you know what you need to do, and then you get into your day and do it. So it's only $497 for the whole 4 weeks. We start every Monday. So coming this Monday, there'll be an intake. I don't know how long I'll leave this open for just yet, but that is what we are doing. So if you have questions about that or anything else that we happen to have talked about today, make sure you let me know. And other than that, you know what you need to do. You need to get yourself out there, go help some people, have fun doing it. And most of all, remember that the world is ready for your brand of awesome. I will see you tomorrow.